Good morning, everybody. This is Grant Sparks of the Grant Sparks Show, and today we're going to address a fundamental problem that nearly every entrepreneur or even new entrepreneur is experiencing. If you are looking around the world and something's going on inside of you, and suddenly you want to add more impact to your entrepreneurial venture, we've got 5 ways to make your business return to its meaningful center. A lot of entrepreneurs started something on a mission and a cause, and then they started making money, which is fantastic, or they didn't start making money. And suddenly they start thinking, dang, like, how can I get back to meaningfulness? Whether you have a small solopreneur business and it's just you, or whether you have a full team and you're making good money, it doesn't really matter. We're going to address today some of the causes that drive you away from focusing on impact and meaning, and then the 5 things and a bonus thing that can bring you right back, some little practices you can do right in your business that you can do right away that'll help you get back to meaning. And even if you struggle to do that with your current business, maybe the business is so boring to you that you don't know how to pull it up and make it meaningful. Maybe it's lawn mowing, and maybe that was meaningful and important to you at one point, and you could bring vision to that. And maybe at this point, it's just a lawn mowing company, and you don't really know how to make it meaningful. We're going to talk about how you deal with that as well. We're going to be talking all about all this and more on the Grant Sparks Show, episode 340. But before we do any of that, it's Morning Cup of Gratitude. What are you grateful for this morning? What got you out of bed? What are you up doing? What do you care most about today? You got to start with that, because if you do not start with a heart of gratitude, I present for your consideration, you cannot connect with yourself first and foremost at an emotional center. And if you cannot connect with yourself at an emotional center, you cannot connect with the people you're speaking to, your potential clients, your audience, your followers, your customers, your employees. They know, everyone knows when you are connected emotionally to yourself. And so that starts with a heart of gratitude. So literally, this is your opportunity to start your day. And tell me what you're freaking grateful for today. Put it in the comments so I can hype you. And I'll start with mine. I am so happy, grateful, and full of joy for a variety of things. But the main one I'm grateful for is Nicole just dropped it. A good night's sleep, a day with her family on Sunday, Easter. She spent Easter Sunday with her family. It's fantastic. And then working on her business today. That's phenomenal. It feels so good to feel for a period of time that you might be away from your business, and then to have that Monday morning energy. So many people are like, groan Monday morning. I love Monday morning because it's going to war again for the goodness inside of me. So I hyped that, Nicole. That's fantastic. For me, it was a whole new setup. We were gifted this vibe board from our good friend Mark Firth. He poured into us on how to set up your studio. And if you notice, the studio is a little different. It's still in progress, so bear with us. But we're trying to get the lighting right. We're trying to get everything right. And it felt so good. And I'm so grateful that those things got set up and it's ready to rock, and we're ready to rock. And I know more about what's going on with my content. We know more about what's going on with our direction. So clarity of vision and purpose are big in me right now. They're big inside of me. So that's what I'm grateful for today. What are you grateful for today? You got to be able to say it out loud. You got to be able to connect with that center. So I see you watching over here. Where are you watching from? I see you watching from Twitch. I see you watching now, a new person watching from Facebook, from YouTube. I see y'all. What are you grateful for? Take a second and tell me what you're grateful for. If you cannot connect with that, you cannot have an open heart to receive the goodness that the world has. Yes, you can fight for wins. Yes, you can achieve success. But there's an easy flow of things also happening in your life. And when your heart opens up, you can receive those things as well, and it accelerates your journey. All right, let's talk about the 4 things that I believe are causing entrepreneurs to focus on meaning and impact in a huge way. Now, we knew this a little while, which we're going to touch on. We knew this for a little while with this generation, especially. There was a focus on meaning and impact, but there was a big letdown in the mid-10s, right? About this, we're going to talk about the factors going on today that are causing entrepreneurs to reassess. Should I just move to Portugal? Should I just pack it up? Should I just move to Bali and Chiang Mai? Listen, all this is on my radar too, right? But we're having this assessment, and the question is, but can I turn the things I'm doing, my business, my side hustle, my infopreneurship, my coaching business, my service-based business? Can I turn these around to be meaningful and impactful again? Yes, let's talk about it. But again, take a second. If you're watching, I see you watching. I see the stats flowing across my screen. Tell me what you're grateful for. Now let's talk about the 4 factors that are driving this inquest into people's hearts about meaning and impact. Now, if you know anything about me at all, and if you followed the show ever, you know that my default setting is, hey, why are we doing this? I drove my teachers crazy with this question. Why do I need to learn this? What's the purpose of this thing? And math was horrible for this as well, right? Like, what's the purpose? I have a default and it to the point where it annoys a lot of the people around me. I get it, but that's who I am. Entrepreneurs can get lulled into productivity. As business owners, we can figure out that we do 1 or 2 things really well, and one of them might increase the company, but the other one just feels good because we do it well. And so we stick to that. And when times get hard, we just do more of that at volume, and we wonder why we can't scale. We might get by. I know during COVID, I know how to sell, build websites, and do some productivity stuff. Not exactly the design. I'm not a great designer. My team are phenomenal designers. But I can do other things in the tech side that I've just been doing forever. I can troubleshoot HTML and CSS like it was nobody's business, which is surprising for an ADHD dude. There's things as an entrepreneur that you do, that you get sucked into, that you'd rather do than and use as a important, logical, but procrastination from other things that might be less comfortable. It might be harder to grow the business for real and scale the business for real and delegate that business for real. That might be very difficult to do. But we get lulled. And in COVID, I found myself getting lulled, but we had to grow. And it was actually good growth in COVID just because the market was doing its thing. Here's the 4 factors you need to be watching for if you are thinking to yourself, do I even want to do this business anymore? If you are thinking to yourself, why am I even doing this? You might have a ton of success, or you might have only a little bit of success and wondering if you should even keep going with your business. Now, I would say this. There are logical times to quit your business. There are important times when you should just stop what you're doing as an entrepreneur and know when to cut bait. But that advice is usually for people that are very well established and they have other streams of income. The best advice I've ever followed is grow what you know. If you have been in a business for any length of time, you tend to know that thing better than most people around you. And so if you are considering, should I get rid of this business? Should I trash it? The answer is very rarely, yeah, trash it. Sometimes it is the right play. Talk to your mentors. More often than not, though, you're asking this question and you think it's a tactical one. You're asking this vision and you think it's a strategic question. Should I keep doing this business with AI? Should we even do websites? The real question that the entrepreneur is asking, a COO, an operator, a temperament on the disc profile who has an SC temperament or a CS temperament, they're asking a different set of questions, but most entrepreneurs don't have that temperament. Most entrepreneurs have an ID temperament or a DI temperament. Not all, but a large proportion of them. And when they ask a question, should I keep going in this business? What they are actually asking is, do I have enough meaning and purpose? Am I fulfilled enough to do what it takes to take this thing to the next level? Because in the early days of your business, you innovated. In the early days of your business, you hustled. In the early days of your business, you didn't know all the answers and you just built it out. You figured it out. You brought some juice to the thing. You woke up early, drank your coffee, and said, I'm taking on the world. And then at some point, maybe when it got hard, at some point, maybe when you got bored, at some point, maybe when it just went on longer and you started missing your goal targets, maybe when you got really successful and it stopped being that bootstrapping spirit, something shifted. And then you started asking what you think are tactical questions, but they're actually fulfillment questions. Do I really want to do what it takes? An example is in the website company. Do we really want to do what it takes to pivot and add AI and automations? Hey, top secret, we are. Because we had this come to Jesus meeting with ourselves that were like, should we just close down the website company? It's like, what are you talking about? I've been doing websites since 2004. I know a little bit something more than websites. I know tech, and I know tech more deeply than most people. No, I'm not in Silicon Valley. I don't know that level of tech. That's another level of tech. But I know more tech than 80% of the other people out there, 90% of the other people out there. And if we do that, we can pivot quite easily. And we are. We're including AI and automations at a rapid clip, and it's quickly surpassing the other vectors of our business. Most entrepreneurs, when they encounter a major thing like that, they ask themselves, should we just close this thing down? You're really asking, do I have the fire in my belly question? Is it meaningful? And for an entrepreneur, it has to mean something. Most entrepreneurs, whether they admit it or not, yes, they're money driven. Yes, they're opportunity driven. Yes, we cannot ignore the need to create radical amounts of money, right? But that only carries you so far when you know how to make 200 grand, 600 grand, a million. At some point, mission really has to take place. Now, there's always a challenge, there's always a problem to solve. And maybe what gets most entrepreneurs off is a problem to solve, but that's meaning. They want to feel like they're contributing to the world and solving dynamic problems that creates wealth for other people. Most entrepreneurs, I'm not talking about the evil oligarchs of the world. I'm talking about most entrepreneurs, the average person you're seeing that's having an existential crisis. Here are the 4 things that are hitting them. Number 1, internal causes. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Believe it or not, most entrepreneurs have attained the first tier of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is like their basic fundamental needs. And then they have some societal needs, some comfort needs, relational needs. Most all that's met. And they thought they were going to get this from their business. And they did. They probably got some material needs met from their business. They even maybe gained respect in their local community for being an entrepreneur and a business owner. Maybe they got some rewards. Maybe there's clients around them, but it has slowed down and it's sufficient. They had their self-image was way down here. Like, I just need a little bit of respect. I need a little bit of money. I need some relationships. And as time goes on, they built some of that. They joined the local chamber of commerce or networking group. They serve on several panels. They're making some money. They're feeling fulfilled. They might have a new relationship or several in their lives, and that's enough. And now they're bored. Now they're starting to have this unction to do something else, and the business isn't doing it for them anymore. That's like a major internal cause. Another one, generational value shifts. If you're a young entrepreneur watching this, chances are you did not want to go work for the corporate America. And honestly, neither did I. I started in 2000. 1999, 2000, when I really started looking at work. And I knew I did not want to go work for a corporate man. In fact, I'd been selling art on the street all my young life. I'd been working small odd jobs, but I knew very early on, I got to work for myself. I didn't even know it was called entrepreneurship. I just knew I couldn't work for a corporation. And this new generation, Gen Z especially, Gen Alpha, millennials, they're very cause driven. They're the ones that drove Tom's shoes, the 1-for-1 model. They're the ones that took things to the next level, making sure that something was giving back. Is this a global cause? Is it aligned with climate change and sustainability? Is it reusable? Good questions, right? We could debate on their efficacy and the efficacy of a company that's driven that way. Tom's was a highly questionable whether or not it was profitable enough to sustain. In fact, we can ask a question and we could just Google it. I haven't even looked. But what have you heard out of Tom's lately? Where are they at as a brand? When was the last time they did a shoe drop that made an impact? You know, I was turned off by the Tom's model myself when I was in Haiti and we brought shoes to Haitians. And when we brought shoes to the Haitians, they literally turned around and sold them. And we asked them, what's going on? They said, we don't need your shoes. We need the money. There's a lot of questions to be had in some of these business models. However, the internal drive is not going away. Every next generation, every sequential generation that's coming up, they want more meaningful impact in the businesses that they're interfacing with and the businesses they work in and the businesses they build. So the major internal factor, a lot of entrepreneurs have hit a certain level and probably haven't increased their vision. And then the other thing is like they just come prepackaged. The entrepreneur comes prepackaged, wondering, hey, I thought this was supposed to feel fulfilling and meaningful. And maybe I thought it was going to be my Instagram dream traveling around the world. Maybe I thought it was going to be, millions of viral videos. Maybe I thought it was going to be millions of bucks in the bank. I don't know, but it's not nearly as fulfilling as it should be. And then there's 2 other quick factors. Number 1, marketing consumer demand shifts. Like my website company, how is the demand for websites changing? Well, actually, the demand for websites is not changing, but the language being used is. Consumers still want that website. They don't want it as much as they need their marketing. And when they talk about marketing, they're obviously talking about a website. So the marketing and consumer demand shifts And that can cause an entrepreneur to have an existential crisis and think, do I want to learn that thing? Do I, like with the website company, do I want to shift? What's the purpose of all of this? Just the shift alone. They're not asking like, what's the purpose of AI? Like, of course I could answer that. But what's the purpose of them as an entrepreneur considering making the shift from one thing to the next? Even if it's a slight shift, then they ask themselves, what is the purpose? Why am I even doing all of this? Because it always feels like I'm starting over. And last but not least, crisis as catalyst. As we see globally, especially hitting America and other countries because of America's actions right now, there's a lot going on. Pandemic and COVID, right? Tariffs out of nowhere, right? All of these shifts can happen. Climate change issues. I remember when a volcano exploded in Iceland. This disrupted many different airlines and different tourism industries, right? Right now, we're seeing a massive change. I'm in Florida. We're seeing a massive change from Canadians not coming down to Florida, obviously, for obvious reasons, right? Crisis as catalyst is causing Airbnb entrepreneurs here in Florida trying to reevaluate whether or not they should stay in Airbnbs. These four factors are coming at us so fast. And what's making it worse is we're connected. Oh, shit. We're connected. And because we're connected, we're more aware of these factors and trying to stay ahead of them than ever before. And an entrepreneur is feeling so overwhelmed and they're looking at these internal and external factors and going, holy crap, do I even want this? It's a valid question. I've asked this at every major turn in my entrepreneur journey. In fact, quite often I've launched the coaching company in the past and we're relaunching it again. We've been coaching again for the last few months and we'll be coaching more and increasing IRL events and all sorts of stuff. But in the past, we've launched the coaching company and pulled back and went back to the website company because, for example, in COVID, we were hard after coaching. We were sending people on the team on retreat. We're sending to meditation retreats. We ourselves were working hard at personal development, coaching. And then COVID hit and everyone had to get locked down at home and everyone wanted websites and no one wanted coaching. So we pivoted. So as you look for meaning, as you look for what is next, it's a valid question. And those factors are going to be hitting you all the time. And the fact that we're connected is throwing these factors at you at an accelerated rate that it's hard to comprehend. And I get it. So here are the 5 things you could do, because I recommend you do these 5 things before you shut down that entrepreneurial venture. If you're having which you think is a tactical question, but I believe is actually an existential question. If you're asking these questions, I present for your consideration to go through this checklist. These are 5 things you should assess internal to your current project before you cut it off in order to make sure that you're not cutting off your streams of income while you're still in a major internal shift. Because these shifts are internal for entrepreneurs. They're nothing more. Here are the 5 quick things. And I want you to either write these down or come back and watch the video, or we'll clip this and send it to you, or email me, DM me, and I'll get these to you. But just listen to these real quick. If you are struggling with meaning and impact in your current business, I don't care if this is a lawn mowing company. I don't care if this is a farm. I don't care if this is a product company that you're bored with. I don't care if it's a coaching company. I don't care what it is. If you are feeling, maybe I should get rid of this company, then ask yourself, wait, am I having a meaning and purpose? Like, what if this company had radical global power and impact? What if I had meaning here? Would I be down to keep going? The answer is usually yes. Here's the 5 things. Number 1, connect with your customer impact stories. Now, this is several folds. Number 1, go beyond the metrics of customers. Like, oh, we were going to build 5 websites last month. We did 5 websites. Great. What's the impact? I have a website. No. Go further. Ask questions. Man, we had one client. This is a true story. We had one client who came to us and they said, man, I can't figure out why I'm not getting any business. We're struggling. We're considering closing our service-based company. It was a service-based company, a home services company. I won't give away more. And they were like, we can't figure out where our leads are going. So we sat with them and we started talking about them. And in preparation for our phone call, our video chat, I asked them, I said, what are your socials? What's your website? Long story short, they didn't even have a website. They had been living off of referrals and word of mouth for so long that they didn't even pay attention when they fired their last web services provider. They fired them. They didn't even check themselves. Do I even have a website? They didn't go to Google They didn't do that. They've just been working on word of mouth. Small family owned. It's a family owned company owned by Latinos that have been in the Ybor City area for 30 years. They're an awesome family who do great home services work. And when we put up a website and leads started coming in and people started realizing they were a bilingual team, the impact was huge. Grant, leads are coming from everywhere. And this isn't magic, folks. Like, these are some of the basics of marketing and being online. So we connected with that customer story. You need to connect with the impact, not the product or service you're giving your clients, but the impact in their lives. And you need to capture that for yourself and your internal team more than anything. And ask yourselves, what impact are we making in your life, if any? Ask them that question. You've had relationships with your customers for a long time. Ask them, what impact have we had in your life, if any? And I'm not looking for flattery. I'm looking for an honest assessment of the impact we make, because we're trying to assess our next trajectory for the next 5 to 7 years of this company. Number one, connect with customer impact stories. If you do this, I guarantee you're not going to just toss the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to your company. You're going to second guess, wow, we're making an impact in people's lives. That's number one. Number two, integrate with a complementary social mission. So again, Tom's Shoes is a good example. I do have respect for what they attempted to do. If you listened to my diatribe earlier about ultimately I ended up disagreeing with the Tom's model, but that was for other nuanced reasons. The spirit of it, I very much agree with. And when you're taking business classes and they have a social impact segment, they always talk about the triple bottom line. And the triple bottom line is when you have a bottom line, a double bottom line for nets and profits, but a triple bottom line is when you always make sure that your margins include a give back. And you know what, I'm saying this out loud. We should absolutely put together a fund within Spark and promote it, because we're proud of it, of how we give back tactically. So for every dollar earned, so many cents go to X, Y, and Z. That would be phenomenal. Integrate with a complementary social mission. If you do lawn mowing, how can you do lawn mowing for elderly people who can't do their own lawn? If you do websites, how can we do websites for nonprofits when they really struggle to put money together to get their cause out there, right? That's integrating with a social mission. Why not devote 10% of our hours or 5% of our labor hours a year to nonprofit work? We should do something like that. Number three, reframe your business in a larger context. Now, this is the one I do more than anything for our business. We might be building websites locally, but do you know that we do websites for or nonprofit organizations in Uganda, in Guatemala? I tell this to my team all the time. Do you know that we're affecting their family? Do you know that when you build a website, a good web presence, a social media presence for someone, they can spend more time with their family? If your business is used to operating here, we do lawns for people. We do lawns in suburban neighborhoods, and that's your mission statement. Nothing inspiring about that whatsoever. But you can reframe this business into a larger context. We beautify the yards of people throughout Central Florida so that their kids and family and generations later can enjoy that lawn, that landscaping, the outdoor spaces. You can elevate with a mission statement. You can elevate out of your current context and reframe to a larger, more important context. When we say that, one thing I say about the website company, yes, we're building websites locally, but we're learning technology skills for global impact. The skills we learn from building a local home services website transfer into AI tools and automation tools and services. We can serve more and more people every day at a leverage clip just because we're getting paid to build someone else's website. We're actually getting paid to learn how to be technologists. You can reframe for your internal team and your external team, your business in a larger context. The fourth thing, develop your team members intentionally. By that, I mean, don't just grow them for the benefit of yourself and your own company. Sit down with your employees and ask them their larger goals. Know them. Be able to say back to them. We have a term that we called the misogi, which we got from Jesse Itzler's Big Ass Calendar. And it's, you have a misogi every year. This is a life-changing, life-altering goal that you just passionately want to achieve for yourself. And you as an employer should know that of your direct reports at least, and your direct reports should know that to their direct reports if you have a larger company. You should know the motivation that drives your people and know that your business, either temporarily, short-term, or long-term, is meeting their needs. Develop your team members. If they say, I know that Amber, our team member, wanted to learn about design. We bought her a course in design. That wasn't necessarily the trajectory internal to the company. It helped, definitely. And her spirits were up and she knew that we invest in her. But when our team says, hey, I want to go this direction, if we have the cash flow to do it, we do it. Because whether or not it's directly impacting their job responsibilities, and we can't spend an exorbitant amount of time doing this, but we can spend some developing the team members intentionally. Now your company is doing more than just the thing it does on paper. Its meaningful impact is that you're growing people in their life journey. So if you have a lawn company, or if you have my good friend Ryan Christie's got a detailing company and he's moved up in the world and they're detailing jet planes now and all kinds of stuff. And when he's developing his team members, right now we connected him with one of our influencers who used to do content creation as their focus, but they're now doing Carrie. Nicole, if you're watching, this is Carrie. They're now doing detailing with Ryan, who Ryan isn't a creator. He's just the best of the best in the world at detailing jets. That's what he does. And he's gotten better, but now he's developed team members where Carrie and them are going to visit him and he's going to develop them. And now his thing has more purpose. He launched an entire nationwide chain of airline detailings as a trainer and he leveled up that way. Developing people is the easiest, quickest way to make your ho-hum business that you're bored with have more meaningful impact. And again, you're not trying to fool yourself to stay in it. You're trying to ask yourself, does the thing itself, based on itself, need to get cut off? Or can I invest in it and it become its own thing? So the fifth thing is this: create space for innovation. If you are not innovating as an entrepreneur, if you are not pulling in the latest AI or at least dabbling with it, if you are not allocating 5 to 10% of your team's labor hours to tinkering, we use ClickUp as our main project management software. And I just bought the AI. It costs a couple $100 for the year. I don't even know if we're going to use it for a month, but it's important to put the latest tools in front of my team so that they can see how we can use this or what's just fluff and not really useful. So creating space for innovation can keep it interesting. I would have quit websites long ago, if we weren't already we were dabbling with AI websites in 2013. I'm not exaggerating. Go look it up. In 2013, there was an AI website builder called grid.io. We were using it back then. When someone comes to me and says, hey, I don't know if you've ever heard of this GoDaddy thing called Arrow, and it's their latest AI website builder. Been there, done that. My whole team has built websites on all the platforms. Even though we focus on WordPress and we're on Flywheel hosting, we have used all the hosting accounts. We have opened and closed accounts at all the hosts, at all the website builders. Why? Because we got to make space for innovation, because we're going to, it's just a fun challenge to be in the cutting edge and to have someone go, I don't know if you've ever heard of, and we're like, yeah, we have. Like, I get off on that. It's kind of fun, right? But when you create innovation for stuff that matters to you, how can we coach more in a more effective way for our web clients, our tech clients, our coaching clients, our inspiration clients? You have more optionality and more options for fulfillment. You have more ways you could be fulfilled, and that more ways that your company is meaningful to all of you. That reinforces the brand. That reinforces best viewers. Oh, okay. Spam bot from Twitch. Got it. You have so many different ways when you create innovation, space for innovation for stuff that matters to you and the team. You create more options on how you could evolve, but how you can make a meaningful impact for yourself. Here's the last bonus. Here's the last bonus thing, and then I'll let you go on this. Here's what you got to check this out. If you have gone down the previous 5 things, do this 6th one. Number 1, reminder. Connect with the customer impact stories. Know how your business impacts people. That can rejuvenate a sense of impact and meaning. Number 2, integrate a complementary social mission. How are you giving back? Are you attributing X amount to single mothers or single female entrepreneurs? What are you giving back to? Are you reframing your business in a larger context? Are you leveling people up so that they can see we're not just mowing lawns, we're not just, building websites, we're doing more? Are you doing that on a consistent basis from a sincere, integrated place? Number 4, are you developing your team intentionally, not just for the goals of the business, but for their goals as well? Number 4 or 5, are you creating space for innovation that matters? If you have done all of those things and you're still questioning whether or not your business is meaningful or important or impactful, Do this one. Look at your business as a portfolio company that it's time to put someone over, which means you've run your course. That doesn't mean it has run its course. The 5 things I just gave, help one realize that any given business with vision and leadership is consistently, even if it's small, impactful and meaningful, but you're ready to move on. That's okay too. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't put a thumbs down and say, this thing sucks. It doesn't. You're stuck instead. How do you do that? Well, if you have employees, figure out a way to delegate that business, begin building the other thing on the side, and level up and view these companies now as portfolio companies. The truth is if you're an entrepreneur and the thing is producing any kind of money for any amount of people, including yourself, it's generally a good thing, and you don't want to get rid of it like that. So what you can do is to get it delegated while you build your other thing, because what it means is you are bored of solving the same problems, and entrepreneurs are driven by solving new problems. Maybe we're ADHD, maybe we're dopamine addicted, but we are made to solve higher and higher and higher problems. That is what we are made to do. That is what we will always drive us. And if you are so bored that you think that this business, which is serving your employees by giving them livelihood and serving them in these other 5, serving the world in these other 5 ways, if you have done all of those things, and you're not allowed to do this last one until you have done those other things and systematized it, then I give you permission to level up. Don't cut it off. Level it up by delegating it to your team. Yes, your income will go down. So in the meantime, be building the other thing on the side. So yes, you're going to work more. But I guarantee you will feel more fulfillment. I guarantee you will find yourself in that bootstrap or entrepreneur spirit again. And I guarantee you will preserve a stream of income for multiple people more than just yourself while building a new thing. And now your self-respect is going to go up. Now your self-belief and self-confidence is going to go up. Now people are still going to be able to get paid and see you unsticking yourself. And I guarantee this. If you have employees that seem stuck, but you also feel stuck, you will see those employees become unstuck as you become unstuck, because you are the leader. That means people are following your example. And if people are following your example in your business, if they're stuck, that means somewhere you're stuck. You're either limiting their growth or you're complaining too much. It's time for you to level up. So if you've done these 5 things already, if you've already done these 5 things and you've basically turned your business around, where, yeah, I've done the things that give that small business meaning and impact. If you've done that and you're still not fulfilled in it, don't cut it off. Delegate it and level up. The trick is a lot of entrepreneurs are afraid of delegating. A lot of entrepreneurs are afraid of trusting. A lot of high performers in general live in isolation because they're so used to being abused and they're so used to hitting brick walls that they're just exhausted with that, right? They're exhausted with driving the horses, driving the mission, it just gets tiring. So a lot of entrepreneurs end up doing things that are truly solopreneurship. And I think that this is a flaw that comes, it's another side of the same coin for entrepreneurship. Our strength is also our weakness. This is the weakness side of entrepreneurs who are high performers. But if you are encountering this problem where the business you are doing is not fulfilling but generating some kind of revenue, the imperative on paper for the entrepreneur is the next skill, and the next skill is true delegation. And if you can't do true delegation, you're stuck. So quit pointing fingers and say the business isn't meaningful or not making an impact anymore, so I'm going to bail. No, you're not doing your job in delegating clearly and then taking the risk, which we do as entrepreneurs, to launch the next thing and then treat them as a portfolio of companies that have meaningful impact each, if you've hit your lid there. So I hope these things are helpful. Why am I talking about any of this today on a Monday morning while you're getting ready for work and trying to drive your people to school, trying to get ready for your mission today? Why am I talking about any of this? Because entrepreneurs have spent years and years and years pouring and bleeding into their passionate companies. And when they hit the internal factors and the external factors I mentioned, they suddenly want to move on, because that's the spirit of an entrepreneur. It's not a negative. It's just how we're driven. We want that next problem, but we don't know how to carry the baggage of this problem forward while we're still trying to launch into the new problem. And if we cut something off, we create damage for everyone we've made promises to and built. And we just kind of put up with that and go, I don't care. It's haters. I'm just going to move on. Maybe sometimes, but I present for your consideration rarely is that actually the right course of action. More often than not, we are resisting the level up of giving it meaning, sowing vision, and delegating, and the 5 things I just listed before we give ourselves permission to level up and move on. A lot of people are like, just cut it off. A lot of entrepreneurship advice out there is cut it off. There are some moments that's right, but so rare. Is that true? Yes, there are some moments, but most moments, in my opinion, require a level up by the entrepreneur to delegate better. That's what I'm being convicted of. And nearly every entrepreneur I know that feels stuck, those making really good money, I know entrepreneurs making really good money and they're still self-employed. Good morning, Vanessa Hadley. I hope you're doing great. She says, good morning, Grant. Preach and flexes. I hope you're doing fantastic. So if you can take the time to do that, and it's going to hurt because your salary is going to go down as you allocate salary to those people taking over. Your work is going to go up because you're going to be working more because you still have your responsibilities while you're training them to take over those responsibilities. And you're still going to be building the new venture. Right now with the website company, we're working the website company. We're adding in AI and automations in social media. That's all been happening. And at the same time, launching the training company. We got a training event in December in Colombia. And we're trying to get another one going in Puerto Rico before then. We got a lot going on. And so I'm working more and my pay is going down. That's normal. That's the pressures. Grant, I don't know if I can handle that pressure. That's fine. But don't say that your company or your business is lacking purpose and meaning. You are not connected to the purpose and meaning because you're overwhelmed. Granted, that means you need to go take a nappy nap. That means you need to go take some time for yourself and go step outside and grab some sun. You need to go actually read a slow read and read a book that has meaning, not just some business development book, not just some scrolling TikTok. That's all good for other reasons. But you need to take a time out and go reconnect with your sense of purpose, with your sense of meaning, because there are people who you've lifted up as a cult leader, which nearly every good entrepreneur is. They're a borderline cult leader where they've lifted people up, they've encouraged people, they've sown a vision, and these people are like, yay, let's go. Keep showing me. Keep showing me. And you just step in and go, this has no meaning, this purpose. What a disservice. You're a leader. Step up, delegate, allocate more resources to them, empower them with better decision-making, and build your thing on the side. That's the imperative. And I guarantee you will get back to impact. Why are we talking about this? Because the world needs people that are alive. Don't go out and find what the world needs in me to go out and find what makes you alive. Because what the world needs is people who are alive. So I want you to do those 5 things today. But no matter what you do today, remember the mission, igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Have a great day.